What do you want to be when you grow up?
Honey. I have to restart my potatoes.
Gerber Life is accepting applications for their affordable Grow Up Plan. The Grow Up Plan gives your child $10,000 in whole life insurance.
Tomahawk, ribeye, baby. No, I didn't drop it in dirt. Grow up. Smoke it at 225 until it hits 120. Grow up. Smoke it at 225 until it hits 120.
I have to restart my potatoes.
But the whole life could be a dream. If only all my precious plans would come true. If you would let me spend my whole life loving you, life could be a dream, sweetheart.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome. Welcome to what I'm calling the Grow Up Plan. I'm Madhav, I'm all of 19 years old, and if you tune into Saki C's Way with Jasneen weekdays from 12 till 2, you probably know me as Mads. As the youngest person at Bush Radio, when I was offered a weekend slot all to myself, I knew exactly what I wanted to make out of it. I wanted to learn how to be an adult, alongside all of you young folks across Cape Town. For the next few weeks, we're going to be figuring out banking and higher education and food and working out together. But today's episode, I'm calling Babies in Diapers and Grandmas in Dentures. Now, full disclosure, I am not in the studio today, so if you hear some crickets in the background, that is because I am currently traveling across the Western Cape, and I don't have all my recording equipment with me, but I will be back on Tuesday with Saki C's Way, hosting it with Lydia from 12 until 2, and I will tell you all about it. But do enjoy this next hour that I have curated for you, from interviews that I have pre-recorded and some of my favorite music. So join me as I learn about caring for my family from people with some really bizarre families. Engage with us and ask questions on WhatsApp at 61-862-1065. But first, let's listen to some music about siblings, because very soon we're going to be speaking to Gabriel with his 10-person household. But this is Marvin Gaye with What's Happening, Brother.
1, 2, 3, 4. Mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Father, we don't need to escalate. Oh, it's not the answer, for only love can conquer. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving. Oh, yeah, take it light. Take it sight, punish me with brutality. Talk to me, honey, so you can see what's going on. What's going on? Hey, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. Woo! Come on, man. Woo! what's going on, baby? Yes, I want to know, yeah, what's going on right now, people. Oh, what's going on, brother? Tell me, yeah, what's going on? All right. Bring it down a little bit, Eddie. Yeah. A little bit, right there. Here we go. Here we go. Hey, baby, what you know good? I'm just getting back what you knew I would. Boy's head, when will it end? When will people start getting together again? Things will get better. The newspaper read. What else is new, my friend? Besides what I read. Can't find no work, can't find no job, my friend. Money is tighter than it's ever been. Woo! Hey man, I just don't understand what's going on across this land. What's happening, brother? Hey, what's happening? I wanna know, I wanna know. Things still getting down when we used to go and dance. Now I'm up when I'm finished. Do you think they have a chance? And tell me, friend, how in the world have you been? Tell me what's out, I wanna know what's in. Woo! What's the deal, man, what's happening? What's happening, brother? What's happening, brother? I wanna know what's happening. What's happening, my man? Been gone a long, long time. Now I'm back on the scene. What's happening, brother? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening, brother? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
Welcome back, boys and girls, beautiful, beautiful people. You are still listening to Bush Radio 89.5 FM. This, of course, is the Grow Up Plan with me, Madhav Prakash. And I have had the amazing opportunity of speaking to Ma Elda, a field worker from Kailicha who coordinates community health clubs in the community and works at GAPA, Grandmothers Against Poverty and AIDS, to foster healthy and active lives for Kailicha's grandmothers and their families afflicted by wealth inequality and AIDS. Now, though I asked her a series of questions, her story is so beautiful that it feels wrong to interrupt it with my own flu-ridden voice. So here is Ma Elda. Ma Elda, tell us who you are and what circumstances you grew up in.
My name is Elda Sidlabane. I was born in Eastern Cape. We at home we were 10 children, plus my aunt's 8 children. So we were 18 children together. So I grew up there. I went to school there. By the time I got married, after I got married, I used to come to Cape Town to my husband for a while and go back to Eastern Cape. So I've got 4 children, and also I'm working now. I'm working at GAPA. I'm staying in Kailicha, Side B, V386, Gemani Street. I also started the groups. I worked to so many places, which I won't be able to send them here, to say them right here because of the time. I'm staying in the Side B, Kailicha. So when I came to Kailicha, I created some groups. First of all, I started to create the groups like the elderly people, which I went to ask permission from the councillor, so that the elderly people mustn't stay at home and stay sad. So they must be together in groups so that they can chat about their lives, about what is happening now, and compare this time and the time before when they were growing up and some things like that, and help each other for prayers, with their problems and everything like that, and sort of things, and also to give advice to the grandchildren and the children, things like that. But because when they are together, they can have quite a few advices for each other. And that is the first one. So now I'm working at GAPA. At GAPA, I'm a field worker. As a field worker at GAPA, I'm looking after the grannies. And that is where I'm learning about the problems that the elderly people have with the age of 16 to 21. Those are the children, sometimes, not all of them, some of them, they don't listen to the grannies. They do as they please. And that age also is the beginning of taking drugs or smoking, and it's the age where they start dodging schools. So to do that and to have that, we're getting together every Tuesdays at GAPA. Then we talk about all these things to give advice to the grannies and to help where we can help. So I'm always part of that. It's not an easy journey to do. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's also not an easy journey to go as a granny. But at least if there's somebody give you advice, or somebody can sit down with you and comfort you when you got that problem, it's not as bad as when you are staying alone at home, thinking about it, crying without anybody telling you, giving you any advice, or take you anywhere where you can get help or something like that. But when we are together, we really helping each other, because that age 16 to 21 is the biggest problem. Some they do support. Some they do support because the grannies can't go alone. They can't do the shopping of their own, especially when they're more older than 65, 60, 70, 80. Those people, sometimes they need help. They need somebody to support them. So it's not easy. It's not easy for them. So the grandchildren are helping them to do that, but not all of them. I think it's very important for the community to keep in mind the relationships between different generations, because people need people who have knowledge of different problems in the community. For instance, the counselors. We need counselors who take care of the people and listen to the people. We also need social workers who can help the people in need. So I think it is very important to have relationship between different generations in the community. For instance, we got lots of children who are taking drugs. By our own, we can't do that. We need the people and the experts to help us with that. First, you go to social workers, you go to the counselors, then they can arrange the help for that. We also got people who stays alone, they're old and they can't do anything by themselves. We also have to go to the same people to get the advice to help those people. It is very important to keep in mind the relationship between different generations. I think if you can do that, all the communities can be they can be good in good one piece, and there will be less children taking drugs. This is so fun. This is so funny to tell you about this. At the age of 19, I was still in school, but just before I finished my 19th year, I was married. That's a surprise. I was married, but I had so much fun with my friends. But our parents were very strict, not like today's children. Our parents were very strict because we are in rural areas. We didn't have all what they have here in Cape Town, like in cities. We used to go and to the mountains to get some stock for the fire. The fire sticks, like a bundle, just make a bundle and bring it home. And then while we are there, we can share our stories of our boyfriends, but that was a secret. Our parents never knew we had boyfriends, but we were talking about that. But the main important thing, we were encouraging each other that as we were 10 girls, we were friends, we were 10 girls. Then at that age, we were only encouraging each other that I think school will take us somewhere we never go, and that was our wish. And also, we love to play the sports. As I was a runner, I was also playing netball. So I did travel with school from other town to other town, playing soccer also, but very little soccer. We used to, because I grew up with boys. At home we had lots of boys, so we used to play. I used to play with my brothers as well, soccer. So those days, it was not so. I didn't hear about the teams of the girls playing soccer like Banyana now. I don't think there was. I didn't hear about it. But me, as I grew up with boys, I used to do that with my brothers. So it was very nice. It was very nice. I went to school. I respected my parents. I respected my community. And even in my school, I didn't have any record. My parents were never called to school for something. I went to high school. Even at high school, There was no bad record about me. And it was only joy in my life at that age. This is a very sad part. If I could give young people of this country advice, first of all, choose good friends. Choose people you see that they got dreams. Don't follow things you think that is not taking you anywhere. For instance, I always teach my children and my grandchildren that anything you think, I wish my parents can't see this or hear this, don't do it. Because that means that is wrong. If they can start respecting themselves. And secondly, if they can respect their parents, I mean, the parent is not your mother and your father only. It's any elderly people older than you. But that starts from you. You respect yourself because you don't want the people out there to mention your name with a bad thing. Also, you respect your parents because you don't want your parents' name to be named by the bad thing. Also, if people are talking about sex in a young age, run away from there, because you never know the father of your child, if you're a woman, will be able to support that baby. If you are a man, you are not sure if that child will ever know you, because when you are young, you're doing young things. When you grow up, you have to get married. Maybe you won't marry the same girl, and like that you forget your own child. So those are things that people, they must be very, very careful about, our young children. So I think most of all, respect. Respect covers everything. Respect your body, respect your community, and also stay away from drugs. That is life. But if you start one of those, you start from cigarette, you're going for drugs, and then that's the end of your life. I just hope and pray our children can start a new start. No drugs, no sex, love and respect. Thank you.
When I was a young boy living in the city, all I did was run, 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 run. Staring at the lights, they looked so pretty. Mama said, son, 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 you're gonna grow up, you're gonna get old. All that glitter don't turn to gold. But until then, just have your fun. Boy, run, 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 run. Run, run, run. Run, run, run. When I was a young kid living in the city, all I did was pay, 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 pay. And every single dime that good Lord give me, I can make it last 3, 4, 5 days. Living it up, but living down low, chasing that luck before I get old. Looking back, oh, we had some fun. Boy, run, 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 run. They tell you that the sky might fall. They'll say that you might lose it all. So I run until I hit that wall. Yeah, I learned my lesson, count my blessings up to the rising sun. And run, run, run. Yeah, one day, well, the sky might fall. Yeah, one day I could lose it all. So I run until I hit that wall. If I learn one lesson, count your blessings up to the rising sun. And run, run, run. Run, run, run. Didn't get everything that I wanted, but I got what I need. Yeah, yeah, I see that light in the morning shining down on me. So take me up high, take me down low, bear it all in, somebody knows. But until then, let's have some fun. Yeah, run, 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 run. They tell you that the sky might fall. They'll say that you might lose it all. until I hit that wall. Yeah, I learned my lesson, count my blessings up to the rising sun. And run, run, run. Yeah, one day will the sky might fall. Yeah, one day I could lose it all. So I run until I hit that wall. If I learn one lesson, count your blessings up to the rising sun. And run, run, run. Run, run, run. Yeah, run, run, run. Yeah, I learned my lesson, count my blessings up to the rising sun. Yeah, I learned my lesson, count my blessings up to the rising sun. Yeah, if I learn one lesson, count your blessings.
Welcome back, beautiful, beautiful people. You are still tuned into Bush Radio. This is 89.5 FM, and this is, of course, the Grow Up Plan with me, Madhav Prakash. We have already heard from Ma Elda for what it means to be somebody who works in the community to empower grandmothers and their families and to take care of grandmothers. And of course, she did leave us with some very, very wise words. But next up, I want to talk to a friend of mine. This is Gabriel Schultz, who's here all the way from the United States of America, and he has a very interesting family. Gabriel, thank you so much for joining me. And you know what? I wanted to introduce yourself, but I think you're going to do a much better job than I can. So introduce yourself and tell us about your family. What does it look like? Who is the boss? Do you love it? Do you hate it?
So my name is Gabriel Schultz. I grew up in the United States, in the state of Montana. I grew up in a very religious family, and I have 8 siblings, 6 who are younger than me and 2 who are older than me. And 2 of them were adopted as well. And growing up, I wouldn't say any one of the children in particular was a boss. I think we kind of had an equal distribution of responsibilities. They were different, but I think it was equal. My mom was definitely the boss of the family, so we listened to mom, not dad. It's hard to say whether I loved it or hated it because it's not black and white. I would say I loved most of it because I learned a lot of really valuable things. I grew in character, but there were just some negative impacts that growing up in a family like that had on me. But I would say it was positive overall, and I would not change it.
How has it been growing up with so many younger siblings? How do you have the patience to deal with them?
I think that because I've always had so many younger siblings, almost always, you didn't really have to learn the patience. It was just something you had, because if you did not have that patience instilled in you from a very young age, you would have fallen apart amongst the chaos. So it was just something I learned when I was very young, and I think a big reason of that is because we lived in a small house with a lot of people, so you just became very familiar with the idea of sharing resources and space and time and hot water and, you know, this and that. So you just learn very early on to not be selfish because, you know, you're definitely a part of a bigger picture, and that's just the way it was. So you didn't really question it. Why would you?
Gabriel, have you ever felt like you were robbed of a childhood or had too much responsibility at a young age because of your younger siblings?
Absolutely. I would say that was probably the biggest downside. Well, I did have a childhood in the sense that I got to play with my family all the time. I did have a lot of responsibilities when it came to taking care of my younger siblings, and that caused me to mature very quickly. And so I can recall, like in high school, when I would hang out with other high schoolers, we just didn't click because I felt like I had gone through, you know, that kind of phase of emotional maturity earlier on. Because, you know, when I was 10, I was changing diapers and making food and doing all the things you don't really do until you're much older. So not only in terms of skill did I mature early, but emotionally I did too, because emotionally I had to look after my younger siblings. And you can't really be a kid and look after a kid at the same time. Mm-hmm. I think that now that I am in the real world, there are certain things I miss out on, like being able to let loose and act quote-unquote childlike in certain circumstances. But when it comes to taking care of myself, I would consider myself hyper-independent, because I learned from a very young age not only to look out for myself because my parents couldn't pay attention to all of us, but to look out for others as well. So actually, I would say in the real world, it's been very easy to look after myself because it's just me and I don't have to look after anyone else as of yet.
So it's like a sixth of the responsibility.
Exactly. Super easy. Sometimes I wish I had more to do.
No. And I'm sure you've had to help with homework or girl problems or boy problems or mommy yelled at me problems. What keeps you going, and what advice would you maybe have to listeners overwhelmed with such tasks?
I would say that what motivated me was a love for my siblings. So I was homeschooled, meaning that I was always around my family. They were like best friends. They were more than best friends. They were my whole world. So how could you not love and care for those people? And because I was always around them growing up, it was just something you did. It was our way of life, and you didn't question it because you didn't know any alternative. And that definitely helps motivate you when you don't have a reason to not be motivated. And I would say, oh man, if I had advice for anyone else dealing with similar issues, I would say make sure to take the time and look at how far those who you are responsible for have come. Because if you feed into someone, eventually it will pay off. And sometimes we're so busy looking into the future. Oh, like my family member in 3 years, 5 years, what are they going to be like? You're stressing about that. You're taking care of a lot. But just think, 3, 5 years ago, where were they and where are they now? And in what way are you responsible for that? And give yourself some credit. And then also understand that, in any healthy, nourishing relationship, there is always a give and take. And that is just part of the process. You can never not give and expect something in return. So just really appreciate the benefits and the bounty that comes with selfless work.
So I understand it must have been hard being an elder brother to so many, but it couldn't have been harder than being a mother or a father to so many children, So what do you think the best ways for people our age to support our parents is?
Yeah, that's a hard one for me to say because I have a really bad relationship with my parents. So I feel like to answer in a wholesome way might be kind of a lie.
You can choose that. If you're okay with it, you can answer non-wholesomely.
Yeah. So I think for me, that's a tough question to answer because my parents had more children than they could handle. And sometimes it was so extreme, it was really unacceptable. And I think that kind of instilled a lot of frustration in me. I loved my siblings, but it was not fair what my parents did to me. And so currently, for me, I don't find that it would be healthy for me to go and take care of my parents. I need some time away from them. And so what it's going to look like when I step back into the picture and say, okay, I'm back, let's start from scratch, essentially. I don't know what that's going to be like because I haven't lived through that, and I don't know what the other side of, the story is going to be. So that's a hard question, and I'm not there yet. For me, I remind myself of the benefits that came with that, like having 8 close siblings. I don't even have that many close friends. So it's like an automatic bonus. It's like, wow, like I have, 8 friends for life. I mean, how great is that? It was very tough to start, but I think the benefits, once we're out of the house, is going to be a totally different playing field, and it's going to be a lot better. And so I'm excited for that. I feel like I kind of paid the price for having 8 close friends later in life. And I always remind myself of my neighbors. They had a family of about the same size, but their situation was a lot harder, and I think their parents did it a lot worse. And so I like to remind myself, even though these were my circumstances, I know of many instances where someone had it a lot worse. And I just really feel like it's not my place to say, oh, God, this was, what a horrible thing. There isn't one standard for life. And so if you don't make the best of it, you're going to be miserable. And a lot of people do that. And sometimes it's as simple as brushing off your shoulder and maybe not always making it too deep and just saying, it's fine. I'm going to drop it. I'm going to move on. There are better things to think about. It happened. So, in the past.
Gabriel, tell me your favorite story that you have about your younger siblings and their antics. Like, what's your go-to family story?
I think one of the weirdest things that we regularly did was we made weird food creations like Cheetos in water. We kind of liked the gummy, mushy texture. We would make pickle juice popsicles. I wouldn't necessarily say that we enjoyed it, but as children, it was just fun to try new, bizarre flavors. Yeah. In the future, I hope that the bond with my siblings will only grow stronger. Because many of us are young adults now, we are all facing an increase in pressures from every area of life, and that really has complicated things. But I think that working through them, even though it's really tough in the moment, will bring us together in the end. And also, as children, there were only so many ways we could support each other, especially because we were physically and mentally constrained in terms of resources. But now that we are all on our own, or at least most of us are, the way we can support each other is totally different. We can support each other, you know, in bigger life stages and with more grand ideas. And it's kind of like when you're a kid and you're talking with your friends and you're like dreaming of going to space and doing this and that. And oh, once we're free, we're going to do all this. And so now we can. And so I'm just really excited as, you know, we kind of all settle into adulthood and we're ready to take off. Like, what's that going to look like? How are we going to support each other? In terms of my parents, I think that being away from them for a while has definitely given both of us an opportunity to really think about what happened and how we can move forward. It was kind of a vicious cycle that really needed to pause, and we're going to reset. And I hope that even though I never expect my parents to really understand why I was so traumatized, I think that they will learn to have empathy for the situation. They may not understand it, but I think they will try. We're never going to see eye to eye, but I think that for me, I have to, you know, kind of pat down my ego and say, okay, trying to them is very different. It might seem shallow to me, but to them, they might really be stepping outside of their boundaries by trying to see my side of the story. So I think I just need to essentially expect less and be okay with that and appreciate the effort it took them to mend, you know, our relationship just as much as I would hope they can see my side of the story.
Thank you so much for sharing this space with me, Gabriel. It's been amazing hearing about your family, and I resonate with a lot in terms of my own as well. But do you have any last words of wisdom for our listeners? Anything you want to leave them with?
Yeah, I would say, especially in terms of siblings, just being present is often enough. You don't have to get it perfect. You don't have to be the perfect helper, support, this, that. You don't always have to be saying the perfect things. It's not like in the movies. You're not the big brother in the movies. You do your best. It's not always going to be good. Sometimes you will fail. But it's being there that really matters. What builds a solid relationship is time spent together. And I hope that a lot of us can really see the value in that. Thank you for having me on the show, Madhav. I appreciate it.
And with that, let's go into a short music break, and I will be back with a very special surprise for all of you.
Feel it coming in the air. Hear the screams from everywhere. I'm addicted to the thrill. I'm ready. It's a dangerous love affair. Can't be scared when it goes down. Got a problem? Tell me now. Only thing that's on my mind is who's gonna run this town tonight.
Said it, we are. This is Rock Nation. Pledge your allegiance. Get your fatigues on. All black, everything. Black cars, all black, everything. And our girls are blackbirds, riding with they diligence. I get more in depth if you boys really real enough. This is La Familia. I'll explain later. But for now, let me get back to this paper. I'm a couple bands down and I'm trying to get back. I gave Doug a grip, I lost a flip for 5 stacks. Yeah, I'm talking 5,60, shot zeros. Here, back to running circles round. Now we squared up. Hold up.
Life's a game, but it's not fair. I break the rules, so I don't care. So I keep doing my own thing, walking tall against the rain. Victory
in a dark Caesar. Please follow the leader. So Eric B, we are microphone fiend. It's the return of the God, peace God. It ain't nobody fresher. I'm in Mason, Martin Margiela on the table. Scream the bras. They got a table full of fellas. Yeah. And they ain't spinning no cake. They should throw their hand in, cause they ain't got no space. Yeah. My whole team got dough, so my bank account is looking like millionaires, bro. Yeah.
Life's a game, but it's not fair. I break the rules, so I don't care. So I keep doing my own thing, walking tall against the rain. Victories within the mile. Almost there, don't give up now. Only thing that's on my mind is who gon' run this town tonight.
It's crazy how you could go from being Joe Blow. I bought my whole family whips, no Volvos. Next time I'm in church, please no photos. Police escorts, everybody passports. This the life that everybody asks for. This a fast life, we are on a crash course. What you think I rap for? To push a grab for? But I know that if I stay stunting, all these girls only gon' want one thing. I could spend my whole life goodwill hunting. Only good gon' come is as good when I'm B-string. And up top, 2 beast things. And I'm beasting off the re-sling. I'm just trying to change the color on your mood ring. Reebok, baby, you need to try some new things. Have you ever had shoes without shoestrings? What's that, yay? Baby, these heels. Is that a made what? Baby, these wheels. You tripping when you ain't sipping, have a refill. You're feeling like you're running, huh? Now you know how we feel.
Welcome back. I don't know what time it is since I'm not doing this live, but I'm assuming it's a little bit past 3:30. I do have one last surprise for all of y'all before I do call it a day, and that is I actually got in contact with my grandmother all the way in Bangalore, India, and asked her what it was like having me as a grandchild, because I of course want to reflect, on my own familial relationships, etc. So I just texted her on WhatsApp with a couple of questions, and she sent me some voice messages, and I really just want to play those voice messages for all of y'all. So this is Usha Abraham, my lovely Amama is what I call her. It means grandmother in Malayalam.
Hi, I'm Madhav's grandmother from India, from Kerala, the southernmost state of India. I am 80 years young, and my passion is education and health, and also have a PhD in nutrition. But more important, if I raise my head too high, I'm made to understand that I am not Z generation nor X generation. I am the silent generation. And this is made aware by my grandchildren that times have changed. But some things do not change. The love and respect we have for our families, and we have them in all parts of the world. My mother keeps me on my toes. Literally, he taught me TikTok and even colored my hair. His care and concern for me knows no end. But then, do you know that I have a head full of silver hair, and quite a few of them have been added by Madhav. Bye then. Have fun. Love to you from Bangalore, India, and hope we will all remember that the family is one of nature's masterpieces. Bye.
That, of course, was my grandmother. I have no idea what she was talking about. I personally have not contributed to any graying of her hairs. But everybody has their own perspectives to stories, I guess. So I think we've learned a lot today about what it means to be a good brother, what it means to be a good family member, what it means to care for your grandparents, to engage positively with your community as a young person. And I think we can all walk away with some hint of wisdom from the people in our lives. And that does bring me to the end of what has been a short, but for me a very valuable and meaningful show, a meaningful episode of the Grow Up Plan. You can of course reach me on Instagram at Madhav is a champion. That's MADHAVISACHAMPION. My other show, which I do host and produce, is Saki Sizwe, which is 12 to 2 on weekdays, with Jasneen, who's currently on leave, but Lydia for the next few weeks. And yes, I will see you all on Tuesday. Have a fantastic day, you beautiful, beautiful people. And follow Saki Sizwe on Instagram. We just rebranded. We're Saki Sizwe on Bush Radio. That's our Instagram handle. I'm also currently working on some interesting branding items for my Saturday show. So do keep an eye out for that on the socials, because I will be asking my boss to cross-promote on all our platforms. But that does bring me to the end of today's show. Have a phenomenal day ahead, and I will update you on my life this upcoming Tuesday.
Hi, I'm Madhav's mother Nandita, calling all the way from India. Just want to say that for me, family is a little crazy, a lot of fun, a lot of love, and the best thing that has ever happened to me.
For my gosh. Yeah. Look. Dressed in fatigues, I rep the east with my trustees, smoking on crushed leaves. They turn their back on everything we built and they must bleed. I've seen splatter hit the snow and the blood freeze. Scraps over territory they know we must keep. Get home and white Air Forces get brushed clean. Back when my mama would interrupt sleep to tell me hurry up cause the bus leaves. Summertime heat waves, I used to just cut sleeves. My shorty really love me, man, she want me to cut keys. I can't do that normal type of life, is it just me? Steady try to ride the wave, but it's rough seas. I'm losing enough sleep, dealing with envy. And the news that they sent for me got the block in a frenzy. It's on each like it's trendy. Running round from Laurier to Mackenzie when the city's empty. Yeah, early 20s. But I want 50s, hundreds, not pennies. I need plenty, got me ready to flip the F out like Fendi. Whatever's in me is taking over. I gotta bust it down, break it open, until somebody starts taking notice. Then we rollin', yeah. Then we rollin', then we rollin'. Deep pockets on it, I can't find my phone in. Now we rollin', yeah. Then we rollin', then we rollin'. Deep pockets on it, I can't find my phone in. Now we rollin'. Look, back when Big Apple sold dreams, I stuck to my own thing. Back when the house that I own now was my home screen. Before I'd ever hit the road and feel like the home team. Running missions, pyramid schemes just like the Egyptians. Back when hotlines were still flipping. Now I'm seeing money off of hotlines blinging, but it feels different. Transitions, plan switching, ambition, minding my business, building a business, etc. Inspired by a few, but my mind really drives itself like Tesla. Always had a little something extra. Back when Corey was our sole investor, and the car could get from A to B but won't impress ya. Look, I ain't no baller, still need my accounts longer, like the way my nephew's getting taller. My soundtrack is the second Carter, dreaming of accepting offers and easing tensions, keeping family out of East attention. And out of Pine Hills Funeral Center, spots we got no business entering. Back when Jill Scott was the apple of my Afrocentric eye, I had to find a way to get someone's attention. Yeah. Then we rollin', then we rollin'. Deep pockets on it, I can't find my phone in. Now we rollin', yeah. Then we rollin', then we rollin'. Deep pockets on it, I can't find my phone in. Now we rollin'.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I have to restart my potatoes.
Gerber Life is accepting applications for their affordable grow-up plan. The grow-up plan gives your child $10,000 in whole life
Alright,
insurance.
tomahawk, ribeye, baby. No, I didn't drop it in dirt. Grow up, smoke it at 225 until it hits 120. Grow up, smoke it at 225 until it hits 120.
I have to restart my potatoes.
But if whole life could be a dream, if only all my precious plans would come true. If you would let me spend my whole life loving you, life could be a dream, sweetheart.
Every time I look at you, something is alright.